שקף על מצב הצגה.
Down below.
Okay, we are now live, and now we should be. Okay, we're live now. So now.
Okay, I'm not getting it yet.
Okay, we can't see it yet because it didn't start yet on
got
Facebook.
it, okay.
But don't you worry, don't do anything.
Okay.
We will just wait for it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, but I like worrying.
יש דברים מעניינים, אמיר.
יש סברו, שיש כאן נתפסים.
יפה. וריאה הגיע?
לא. אלה לא בעייתיות, הבעייתיות זה אלה שבצים. רוב הציפורים היו מפה עכשיו. גם אצל ציפורון ואילה.
Okay, it still says it's waiting for a live video. Shall I enable? Yeah, shall I? Oh, yeah, it's not there. Okay. Hi, everyone. I see that we have lots of people already with us, and we're going to start in a few minutes at the top of the hour. So you've got just enough time to make yourself a very quick cup of tea or other hot beverage. And looking forward to starting with you in a few minutes. Okay.
Lawrence, if I type something to all panelists, is everybody seeing
No, you need to do all panelists and audience.
All panelists and audience. Want to get going?
Yeah, I think we'll start. We're just waiting for Facebook, but there we have a lot of people with us already. I can see we have people from across Israel, to Canada, in Toronto in Canada. We have someone in Philadelphia, in America, in Maine. So welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us again, especially to our friends in the States, so it's relatively early in the morning, and also all the Israelis who like me are probably at home under orders to stay at home. I'm really delighted to have you with us today. We're broadcasting from one of my favorite sites in the projects amongst espionage, the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, which is the Nili and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory. Today we're going to have a broadcast from 3 places because one of our members is in quarantine because their partners may have coronavirus. So we wish them better. So with us, with me today, I'm really delighted that we have Amir Balaban, Espionage Director of Urban Nature and co-founder of the Nili and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory, and Alen Kacal, who is the current director of the Jerusalem Bird Observatory. Welcome, guys. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hi, everyone. As Lawrence said, my name's Alen. I'm the director of the Jerusalem Bird Observatory. I'm checking in from my house just outside Jerusalem, where I'm sitting in quarantine for the next few days and unable to join Amir as planned at the Bird Observatory. But Amir is there with some birds. For those of you who haven't been to the Jerusalem Bird Observatory, we are a small site located right next to the Knesset in downtown Israel, surrounded by parks, and it's a very important stopover site for migrating birds, which is very important right now because we are in the midst of spring migration. Birds are headed back from Africa, headed towards Europe for their nesting period. And the JBO is seeing a huge number of birds pass through the site. And we are conducting bird ringing most days in the morning. We're doing a special afternoon ringing so that we can reach out to our friends overseas who would usually be fast asleep when we are ringing in the mornings. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Amir, who is at the Nili and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory in Beiton Ariel, and I believe he's got some birds ready for us, and he will explain more about the migration as we go along. I'm going to be manning the chat rooms, so if you have questions, send them in, and we'll get them to Amir as soon as we can. Amir.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon from Jerusalem. I'm here in the Nili and David Bird Observatory in the Ariel ringing station. Can you see me? Is everything okay? I can't see myself. I can just see a nice screenshot of a scope owl. Can everybody see me? Okay, yeah, looks better. Good, so good afternoon, everybody, or good morning if you're way over across the Atlantic. As you probably know, we in SPNI are working under the new regulations, meaning that most of our staff is on leave, and a few of us have stayed on to carry on the monitoring programs that have been going for over 25 years, actually 26 years this April. This is a very big challenge because our staff is very limited, but as we say, the show must go on, and we're working on the strict regulations. So I would like to share with you some of the unique features of bird migration. spring bird migration, which is different from fall bird migration, by its intensity, by its color, by its sound. And as I'm speaking, you will hear in the background a lot of songbirds singing their hearts away because it's the beginning of the breeding season. The breeding season here in Israel has already started, but most of the migratory birds are flying north to areas that are just now opening up, and they will become very, very attractive breeding sites. Israel hosts billions of birds every year on migration, and we are a very important stopover site for these migratory birds. So when we protect birds in SPNI, we actually take care of birds, of European birds and Middle Eastern birds. So conserving birds in their stopover site is a very important thing. And to conserve a stopover site, you have to understand the very different relations between plants and birds, and how birds use them on their way back north. And this is exactly what we're doing here. So what I'm going to be showing you are the different birds that pass through the JBO and how they interact with our plants. They not only use the energy from the plants, they have a very important part in pollinating and also dispersing seeds. So this is a symbiotic relationship that, if you think of it, we depend upon. If the birds and plants reproduce, we people, we humans have fresh air, our habitats are well taken care of. If nature is healthy, hopefully we are. So the first bird of the day that I'd like to share with you is this very beautiful and shy bird. This shy bird is called a thrush nightingale. Thrush nightingales are passing in their hundreds of thousands over Israel right now, and they are going to fly over to Sweden and Scandinavia. And you can see this is a type of a robin, actually, a large robin that will live in the undergrowth of bushes and trees in forests all over the temperate zones up to northern Scandinavia. You can see that it has a very large eye that enables it to find insects in the under storage on the ground, and it will use its long legs to hop around and collect food with an erect tail. And the tail is the most colorful feature of the nightingale. The visual, it has a very reddish tail. The other thing the nightingales are very famous for are their beautiful courtship song. And they are very, very melodious. We have two species of nightingale, the common nightingale that breeds in Israel along the Jordan Valley, and the thrush nightingale that passes through. We do enjoy their song because they're nocturnal singers, and when they pass through Israel, they practice on their way. Okay, so now this bird has already received a ring, and this ring is our technique to identify the specific bird. The ring has basic information, and you can see with these large rings that are used for storks, we have a serial number and the name of the Israeli Bird Ringing Center. So anybody finding a bird in Africa on the way or in Europe can send this information back to us. And this is how we can create a geographical picture of the birds that Israel and Jerusalem specifically caters for. And Jerusalem, at first, you know, when we developed the JBO, people asked us, you know, what's special about Jerusalem, the Jerusalem Bird Observatory? Do you have any special birds? The answer is yes. We specialize in songbirds. We specialize in these nightingales, robins, and warblers. That's our forte. And in this session, I will share with you some of our finds. So I'm going to release this beautiful nightingale, thrush nightingale, back into the wild. It's going to use our habitats that are managed by our teams and mainly our volunteers. And I'll mention some more details about this aspect too. So off this thrush nightingale goes back into the wild through our release window. There it goes. So as I said, the JBO is SPNI's first community urban wildlife site. And as such, it not only protects an important bird area, but it also hosts and caters for a large community of naturalists and people who live in Jerusalem and around Jerusalem that love nature and want to take active part in preserving it. So community urban wildlife sites puts nature and people together. It's not a nature reserve where it's dedicated for nature and we're guests. Here, the JBO is open 24/7. People can come in, not at the moment, sadly. And this is one of the things that, you know, we miss a lot, our volunteers and all the visitors that come to our beautiful hike towards the Neiman Pond or the living roof or our visitor center. I might take you around at the end of this broadcast to show you a little bit about how our facility is blooming during this beautiful spring. And let's get back to the birds. Net number 52 is a net that is situated directly between a wild pistachio. Wild pistachios are one of the most important trees we have in the Jerusalem area. This is a Mediterranean tree, which is basically the wild variety of pistachios. And it's flowering right now, and it attracts a lot of birds that come to visit this beautiful tree. By the way, it starts blooming in a red color. So, we have an interesting guest here. This bird looks like a little brown job, and most of our warblers are little brown jobs. By the way, I'm holding the bird in this special bander's hold. That's the name of the hold. It actually helps me control the bird without it flapping its wings. The wing flap is typical to a bird that is under stress, and you must understand that when we handle birds, they're under stress. But it has to be done in a professional way, and this is what we make sure we do. Any ringer, bander that works with us has to undergo a very long and tedious process of training. What I'm doing now is I'm attaching a little ring that is the right size for this bird, and the code is BG, ending, the serial number is 73449. And with this little plier, a little jeweler's plier, I ring this bird, and this ring will stay on the bird's leg for the rest of its life. It's a very light aluminum ring, and the bird gets used to it very, very quickly. How do we know this? This is data. We see a lot of these birds coming back. They're staying on. It's not the trauma that makes the bird fly away. They stay on. They get retrapped. They come back year after year. So we know this is a safe technique. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the weight condition of this bird. Now, a lot of our birds come after they've crossed a very, very long passage. And you can see here on this diagram, these are all the routes that migratory birds pass through as they migrate as spring advances up north. You can see even North America has these beautiful routes in Western Europe, if you're from England, and even in Australia, the Eastern Flyway. It's the same idea. And as the birds cross the desert, this is the first thing they see. You can see a diagram here. This is the Dead Sea down here. And this is the Mediterranean coast. And this is the great desert that the birds cross. And they will cross to Jerusalem. And as they reach Jerusalem, you see this is the parliament, the Knesset, and we are right next to the parliament. These birds will land early in the morning because they are night migrants. And they will arrive fatigued. They will be very, very tired. Their energy depleted. And their first goal was to find a place where they can feed and drink and bathe. These are things that migrants have to do on a regular basis on the way. So I'm going to check the fat condition. The way I do this, I can actually look through the skin of the bird. The skin of the bird is very, very thin, and I can see through it into the sternum. I don't know if you could see that yellow mark, but that mark is basically fat that's aggregated in the sternum, and it's fat too. The other thing I do before I release the bird, there are a few more things. I will take a wing measurement. This is an 83 winged bird, and a tail measurement. That's a 68 tail bird. And this is a female, and I will age it by looking at the feather. This is a female, okay, and it looks like a young female. And the last thing I do before I let it go, I will release it. I will wait. And if you have some guesses, write down how many grams, we do grams here in Israel, how many grams this bird weighs, and you'll be quite amazed. 27.6 grams. That's like 2.5 ketchup bags. You know, the small ketchup bags. I think I might have one here. Where's my ketchup bag? It's not here. Anyway, it's a very, very small bird. And it's called an Syrian Warbler because it has one of the most melodious and beautiful songs ever. So it got the name of Orpheus from the Greek mythology, master of music. And I will release it back. This bird nests in northern Israel, Turkey, Greece, and all the southern parts of Eastern Europe. So off it goes back into the wild. Sorry. Set number 52. So this is what we do every morning in the JBO from 1994 on a daily basis. Most of the work, and here I must also thank our supporters. A lot of people who believe in the SPNI cause and specifically in what we do in JBO. You have helped us, especially by helping us erect this beautiful infrastructure, the ringing station, the bird hide, and some of the habitats. Hope we have time and I'll show you some of the habitats. We couldn't have done it without you. And this is, there's no better time to say it now. And we thank you for this. Now, one of the most important birds, or the bird that is most close to our heart, is this little bird that I'm holding now, X441-206. Now this little bird is very similar to the Orphean Warbler, but it's about 1/3 of its size, really, really small and gentle. This little bird is called lesser white-throat. Sylvia curuca in Latin. Curuca is a sort of an onomatopoeic name because that sounds like its song. It's like an insect call. Thanks to this bird, we actually had this observatory, 1994, 23rd of April. By the way, this is Gideon Perlman, Dr. Gideon Perlman, my partner. He's in charge of the registration right now. A man of many talents. And together with Gideon, on that lovely morning of 23rd of April, just in front here, we were sitting behind the trunk of our car, young bird ringers, and we actually caught a bird very similar to this one, identical to this one, with a ring, but not with an Israeli ring, but with a Swedish ring. And we were so excited that we asked ourselves, how on earth are we going to protect this site? How can we conserve such a unique site that serves Scandinavian birds by the Israeli parliament? And this is where we embarked on one of, I think, our most exciting adventures of our life, convincing the Israeli government to allocate 1.5 acres between the parliament and the Supreme Court. And this is what happened. At first, we were very naive. We were sure that thanks to the bird, we can convince them. Forget it. What convinced them is the fact that we could congregate with school children and kindergarten classes and show them this amazing thing. So this is a lesser white-throat. In Hebrew, it's called Sivchit Tochanim. Mendele Mocher Sfarim, one of the Hebrew language renewers, well, apparently he was a bird watcher, and when he observed this bird, he looked at the apron and he said, wow, that reminds me of the miller's apron. So I'll call him the Miller Warbler, or yeah, the Miller Warbler. So in Hebrew, we call it a Sivchi Tochanim. And you can see that the bill of the lesser white-throat is adapted. I'll do the movement very slowly so this bird can stay calm. It's a very thin bird, a thin bill. These warbler bills are adapted on eating for eating small fruit and insects. So they are major pollinators right now. Some of them come over and they have a lot of pollen on their forehead. And they eat a lot of bugs, which is the most important thing. They really help us grow things without using pesticides. So if we understand that and we let birds and plants do their job, it's fantastic. So this is a retrap. It's been trapped here in the morning. When was it trapped, Gidon? 3 days ago. Now let's see if we manage to help this bird regain some weight. Fat too, not a lot, but the weight is the most important thing. We'll see very, very soon. Don't forget, we had quite a few rainy days, so a lot of birds stuck around because the weather was bad and there was not a lot of food. 10.4 grams. What's the situation, Gidon? Okay, we don't have the weight data, but definitely this bird will improve its condition, and in a few days' time will set off as night falls. It will direct itself northwest, and it will migrate probably to Western Europe. We have already received answers from England, from Sweden, and from Germany, I think, of lesser white-throats, and they have an amazing voyage. During fall, autumn, they will migrate through Western Europe, west of the Sahara, and they will come back east of the Sahara through Israel and back to England. An amazing migration, you know, really a tremendous migration, a 10-gram bird, 10 grams. Off you go. Net 52. Now all our nets are numbered. And why are they numbered? And this is a diagram of our net system. And you can see every one of our nets are numbered. We also have a few nets in the adjoining next door graveyard. We call them our best neighbors because they're very quiet. Not a lot of activity, but there's not a lot of activity in the parliament right now too. I think we're going to have our 4th election, so sit tight.
Used to be quiet.
Used to be quiet. Wow, 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 wow. Now, this is a very interesting story. When we started managing the habitats in the JBO, one of the things we did was an amazing adventure. We had an amazing couple come to visit us, Larry and Danielle Neiman from New Jersey. And we already had our beautiful hide. You can see our beautiful hide overlooking our habitats. And we had a little pond. And they asked, listen, we like what you do. What do you need most? And we said, we need a proper pond, you know, with a waterfall and the different micro habitats. And they said, well, make a plan, we'll make it happen. And from then on, we have this amazing habitat, the Neiman Pond, that is a little wetland. And what we observed as time passed is that migratory birds that pass through the JBO hear the frogs at night and will come down to spend a day or two in our little reed bed. And the bird I'm going to show you is a little bird called a Sedge Warbler. The Sedge Warbler, this one can eat pasim. This one will have a ring X ending with 12. Gidon is very meticulous with me. He's very, very meticulous. X 4412. Is that okay? And now I'm going to band this bird. A little ring, it's an X ring, it's even smaller than the previous ones. Now this Sedge Warbler is an amazing little warbler with an absolutely stunning camouflaged plumage. Look at that. It's very hard to observe. These birds pass in their thousands, hundreds of thousands through Israel. Very few people see them because they are so well camouflaged. Look at this beautiful eye stripe and the double dark band. That's a nice bird. And because it lives in reed beds, it has these very elongated talons. Look at these talons. They're adapted for handling reeds. Look at that. And they have very powerful fingers. So this bird will specialize on feeding at the base of the reed bed, close to the mud. This is why the colors are so stripy. And look at the rounded tail. It's ideal to cut the corners between the reeds. What a beautiful bird, so elegant. So gentle. So I'm going to check its fat condition. Ooh, nice. This is a 4. A 4 means that this bird is very close to leave. You see, this is when it's 0. This is a cross section of the chest. This is where the birds will save all the extra energy. This is brown fat. So this is how they arrive to the JBO. And after 3, 4, 5 days, they will reach a 4. And then they will set off for a night flight, maybe across the Mediterranean to Turkey. Where did you get these returns from these birds?
One from Turkey.
One from Turkey. Only one, and we've already banded thousands. So I'm going to take some measurements. This is my wing ruler. 63 wing. The tail is 51. These measurements are very important for assessing populations, and the relation between the length and tail is a good measurement. It gives us a third aspect of the populations. Maybe I will recheck. 63 כנף. בסדר? וזנב 51.
Amir?
Yeah?
This is Alen. We have a question here about age. How can you tell the age? Can you tell the age of the birds?
Okay, with Sedge Warblers, I'll ask Gidon. I think we can't age them, right? They're age 4. Yeah. Some of the birds are easy to age because all birds have to change their feathers as the feathers abrade, and this cycle enables us to identify the age of the bird, especially if we know when and where it molts. This bird has a complete molt in Africa. So the young and the adult come completely fresh, so we cannot distinguish between the adults and the juveniles. With other birds, we can, and we age them differently. So when I say age 4, it's it's a polite word to say I don't know. 5 means young, 6 adult. So these are codes. So I'm going to weigh this bird. $13 grams. And one last look before this bird sets off to a European swamp. There it goes. 55. I have a surprise bird for you. I hope you stick around for this bird. Some of these birds I have to work very, very quickly. Oh, oh, wow. This is this is the smallest bird of the day. You can hear an ambulance in the background. This is how urban we are. This is the smallest band we have, are ending with RH6 9 0 לא, 2. Okay, 2. Okay, it's so small I can hardly see it. I need to use my magnifying glass. And this little warbler is a little leaf warbler, so small that in Hebrew, its name is Alvit. Alvit livnat beten, meaning it's a leaf warbler in Hebrew. And this is a Bonelli's warbler. Now look at this minute thing. Okay, you can see the yellowish undertail and the pale underparts. The wing of this Bonelli's warbler is 63 and the tail is 45. Wow. Fat too, and this weight is amazing. This bird will come from Africa weighing 6.6 grams. That's half a ketchup bag. That's nothing. And this bird actually nests in Israel, in northern Israel, in Mount Meron and Mount Hermon, and also in forests all over Turkey and Greece. Such a beautiful bird. Dark from above, pale from the bottom, just like a leaf or a fish. Okay, it's good camouflage against sparrowhawks. And look at this little bill for eating very, very small insects, mainly mites. Off you go. You could hear its call. Chip. 83, net 83.
Amir, I have another question for you.
Go ahead.
The question is, for the past 20 years, I have seen fewer migratory birds flying across Zikron Yaakov. Is there a change in the bird's health or population size? Do feral cats kill many of these birds? Maybe my observation is not correct because I'm not in Zikron all year. And that's from Alen.
These are a few questions, not one.
Yeah.
The first answer to your question is yes, there are less birds. We humans have developed a lot of habitats that serve wild birds all over the world, especially in Europe, also in Africa. Land use is very intensive, so we have less birds. Okay, X ending with 13. This is very true. Cats are just another aspect of human development. Feral cats were not, they did not appear by coincidence. We people release a lot of feral animals. Many places could be wild, feral pigs, feral dogs, feral cats, a lot of ferals. And they have a very harsh effect on biodiversity. So yes, cats have a very bad effect on biodiversity, and specifically birds and reptiles and mammals, etc. So I think your observation is correct. This is why in SPNI and the Israeli Ornithological Center in SPNI, we focus on preserving these habitats. And it doesn't matter if it's habitats in cities, in agricultural communities, or in the wilder areas of Israel. This is why we conduct surveys, we create policy papers, we work to mitigate development and to advance sustainable development with whoever we can, with all stakeholders, okay? We understand that we're in this together. So whoever supports SPNI supports this cause. We do it via research, monitoring, education, PR. Israeli newspapers are filled with bird items this holiday. People can't go out, so they're reading about it or watching YouTube or television about it. So this is very, very important. Now, back to the main business. That's why we're here, to see the birds. I don't want to waste this blackcap's time. Okay. The blackcap is one of the most numerous migrants between Africa and Europe. One of the commonest birds. This is one of the commonest birds you can ever imagine, but nobody really knows about this bird unless you're a birder or an avid naturalist. Look at this little cap, and this is what makes this bird so unique. It's one of the only warblers with a completely dark black yarmulke, and you can see that it blends in its environment very well. So this is why not a lot of people know that this is one of the commonest birds in Israel and one of the commonest birds in Europe. And apparently, it's also a good indicator to climate change. Why is that? Because we see the distribution of this Mediterranean summer visitor according to where things are warming up. So once it did not overwinter in Israel, now it's overwintering in Europe. It's crazy. So yes, climate change is reality. Birds are a very important indicator. This is an insect-eating bird, and it cannot survive without warm weather. So no warm weather, no insects, no blackcaps. So this is how we can see that the climate change is changing through birds. So this feels like a very fat bird. Ooh, this is a 5 bird, meaning it's really, really fat. I can feel the fat in its body. You'd be shocked to hear that this is one of the most hunted birds around the Mediterranean. People are hunting these birds in their millions for food, and not because they really need to, it's because it's fun. It's considered a delicacy. And this is a real tragedy that today people in the modern age use these traditional, concepts to harvest these birds in masses, millions, with nets, lime sticks, shots. You have it. You name it, you have it. It's crazy. So one of our main goals is educating, educating people that this is not a food source. This is a provider of services for us. Let it be. Let them live. 79 wings. This is a male, by the way. The female has a brown cap. 62 tail. This is a nice adult with a shiny cap, very beautiful shiny cap. Gil Shesh, it's an adult. And I'm going to wait. 21.9. This can reach 25 and 27. So it's really doing very, very well. And now I'm going to release this very common bird. Once we had an ultra-Orthodox, minister, education minister, and he came to visit us in the JBO, and we tried to explain why is this so important. And he was, a little bit, he wasn't very interested until we showed him the blackcap. And we told him that the commonest bird in Jerusalem has a black yarmulke. And suddenly his face lit, and he suddenly got very, very interesting. So the other thing that, this story shows is that one of our main goals and the reason that we are situated in town is that we can attract a lot of people from different walks of life. We have secular people working with ultra-religious people. We have Arabs, we have Jews, Christians, everybody's, you know, whoever is keen about nature and wildlife and conservation usually puts aside all the politics. And it's sometimes amazing. This is why we miss all our volunteers and staff, because there's such a varied crowd. And you can see old timers with young kids, no difference. You see Orthodox and secular, hippies, they're all interested in birds, and that's what's fascinating. Finished with this? So I'm going to release this beautiful black-cap back to the wild. We have many returns rings that are found in Sweden, in Scandinavia, in Germany, Hungary, and Turkey. So we have a very clear line. We know where this bird flies over to breed. And we are also beginning to understand where it winters in Eastern Africa. Farewell. 83. Ooh, this is another small bird. Another, that's a white throat. Okay, this is X, ending with 14. And we'll do a quick one on this one. Oh, it's a retrap, sorry, wow. Gidon, it's a retrap, sorry. X413.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 413987. Okay, so this bird was caught probably earlier this week. Another bird that is sticking around. As I said, a lot of birds pass through the desert and had a really rough time. So they're actually sort of, you know, this is like a club med for birds. Weight 2. And the weight is 10.9 grams. It's a bird that needs recovery, definitely. So it's sticking around a few more days. Net number 84.
Amir, we're coming up on 15 minutes before the end.
So,
Yep.
We have 15 minutes to go, and one of the things I want to show you is one special bird that's going to come out very soon, and then and then I'm going to take you for a quick round around our habitats and facilities. So whoever has not visited the JBO will have a kind of a visual picture of this truly amazing natural site in the center of town. Schumanstein, Fatou.
Amir.
65, just a minute, Lawrence. Tail 56, age 5. Yes, Lawrence.
Is it possible to visit the JBO?
11.3 grams. It is possible to visit the JBO, but not at the moment. We're close to the public. And although we are in the center of Jerusalem's parkland, it's empty. The police are patrolling around. Unless you have a special permit like we have, you cannot visit. But you can get updates via our Facebook and yeah.
We'll be back live.
And when Corona's finished?
Hopefully very soon. You know, things will ease up and we can get people back in. There will be a specific way we're doing it. It won't be, you know, completely back to normal. It's going to be gradual, but we can't wait. So, you know, patience, and I hope it will happen sooner than later. And this is a really unique bird that we really like having, and it's one of the season stars. It's one of the birds that we wait for each spring to come back from Africa, It's a member of the woodpecker family. You know, Israel is very poor in woodpeckers because we don't have many forests. We have woodland, we have Mediterranean scrub. So we have one proper species of woodpecker. It's called the Syrian woodpecker. And we have its ally here that migrates from Africa back to Europe. And this species specializes in eating ants on the ground, as it lies on the earth. And it's so camouflaged that if you're not very well trained, and even if you are well trained, you will not see it. Look at this camouflage. Okay, this bird is so camouflaged that really even expert birds can miss out on this bird. Now, this bird gets its name from a unique feature. Yes, sorry, yes, this will be quick. It's called a wryneck because of the special movement of the neck of this bird. Okay, now it's, you know, it's pretty calm, so it's not moving its neck, but it's called a wryneck. Now, this is a retrap, and the ring number is AB 95147. So this is a wryneck, a very unique migrant that passes through the JBO in very large numbers. We only trap a few tens during the migration season, and they're hysterical when we have groups here. One of the most important elements in the JBO is when groups come. And during Passover and the school year, the JBO hosts over 50,000 visitors, most of them school kids, that will sit around the ring table. Okay, this got the wryneck turning its head, and they get to see these birds, learn about biodiversity, about how important these birds are for the environment and for us people. Every bird holds a story, and this is how we get young kids connected to nature in this very, very challenging time. So we're going to, I've got to weigh this bird. Schumannstein. 37.8. This is our heaviest bird of the day. Quite amazing. So beautiful wryneck, very secretive bird. Look at that head movement. If you're asking why does it have this head movement, probably to scare away predators from its nest. It's a cavity nester, so when it lays down inside that cavity on eggs, if a snake peeps in from above, it will do this movement, and you know that will scare anybody peeking into a crack, seeing something, you know, wringing its neck like a snake. So this is our last bird for today. I'm going to take you for a short stroll around the JBO right now, so you can enjoy our beautiful spring wherever you are. I saw many people from Europe, from Scandinavia, from BC, from Canada, from the US. Our hearts are with you, and we're thinking of you, and we hope we get over this tough period and get back to business, conserving nature wherever it is. So there goes the wryneck back into our
Amir, before you go, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. We have over 170 people with us right now. So thanks everyone. We've got people from Europe, from America. We've got people on Facebook from India. It's just amazing that everyone's with us today from all around the world. Thank you very much, Amir, for an amazing birding experience. I just want to let everyone know that we'll be back next Sunday, the 19th, at 6 p.m. Israel time, which is 11 a.m. New York time, for a live tour of the Gazelle Valley. And then again next Wednesday, Wednesday week, for 8 p.m. Israel time, for a lecture about wildflowers. Unfortunately, our Jerusalem Bird Observatory is one of our departments, one of our teams, which have been most affected by the coronavirus, as obviously all the groups have had to cancel. So if you'd like to make a donation to support our work and keep this amazing place going, you can do so on our website, which is www.natureisrael.org. You'll see the donate button in the corner. What we're going to do now is Amir's going to give us a tour of the site, and then Alen and Amir can answer some questions for everyone. But really, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again on Sunday. Stay safe. And Amir, don't touch your face, you'll get coronavirus. Stay safe, and we'll see you all. And Amir, just let everyone know how they can actually, where the JBO is, and once the restrictions be lifted, how they can come visit. How do they get to you?
So guys, here we are just by the little waterfall that attracts all the migrants. And you can see that beautiful movement of water works magic on the birds. And in my background, you can see the Neiman Pond, and all the water lilies now are just beginning to wake up. Look at that, these beautiful flowers. All the water lilies are just coming up. You can hear the blackbird just above our bird hide. This is where the public and our school groups come and sit and learn how to observe birds. So it's not just birds in the hand. Remember, birds in the hand are for monitoring and research. The idea here is to teach people how to enjoy, how to indulge in nature. So this is what this building, which is made out of wood, so simple, is such an amazing aspect. Look at this beautiful flower. This is called Jerusalem sage. It's a fantastic flower, full of nectar and pollen. And the huge flowers are an amazing food source. You know, vine leaves, stuffed vine leaves are a traditional food in the Mediterranean area, but also sage leaves can be definitely used as a food source. So we teach people all the traditional things that are so important in the Mediterranean area to conserve. So this is our habitat. These are the different shrubs and trees we have here. These are laurel leaves, and you probably know them as an important, addition to food stuff. You know, they have an amazing taste and scent. But wow, if you can smell these beautiful flowers, they are amazing. And this tree actually has olive-like fruit that are very important for birds. This is another wild pistachio that we have here. It's called the Mastic Pistachio. Originally, it was used to make chewing gum and glue, okay? The sap is very, very sticky. I'm going to take you down to, oh, I can hear a nightingale. Wow. Maybe you can hear it too. That was a thrush nightingale. It's close to the, it's getting, you know, the sun is setting. So when the sun set, it really would like to start singing. Oh, look at this, Hyacinths Quill. This is one of the most beautiful flowers we have flowering right now. Look at this beautiful flower. This is called the Hyacinths Quill, a spring flower. It's about, this one is 1.20 meters high. And these were all planted by our volunteers. So you can see this is called Persian Buttercup. Look at this beautiful bulb, and it's flowering all over Jerusalem right now. So this is the habitat that serves our bird. And it's very important to maintain all the different wild varieties here, the native plants, because apparently from what we've seen, the birds are programmed on these plants. We can, you know, put a lot of very attractive non-native species but the birds need the specific type of fruit, the specific type of mite that uses these plants. I'll show you another beautiful tree that is not beginning to finish its flowering cycle. It's one of my favorite trees. This is called the Judas tree. It's also a very common Mediterranean tree. And look at that. It's crazy. Look at that. Look at the color. The scent isn't very strong, but apparently the flowers, they're edible. They're full of sugar. And they're an amazing addition to salad. So the last thing I'm going to show you is, as we developed the JBO, we understood that the data and the knowledge that's acquired by SPNI here can serve not only conservation bodies about anything that's connected to vegetation, but because we're located in the middle of town, the knowledge we're developing here can be used also in every Mediterranean urban setting. By the way, these are our nets. They're going to be folded as it gets dark. So the area can be used by bats and nocturnal flyers. Graceful warbler, can you hear that? Pretty, pretty, pretty. That's one of our small native warblers. And another beautiful flower, Mediterranean plant, very thorny. Haggah in Hebrew. So we have a few structures here in the JBO. One of them is our visitor center, and also our new bomb shelter. We were preparing for bombs and rockets from Iran, and we got Corona instead. So every public building needs a bomb shelter, and we're a public facility. But we decided that all our building structures will be living buildings. So we're developing different techniques of how to bring wildlife closer to our structures. SPNI cannot develop a visitor center and not enable wildlife to develop everywhere we can. Either it's on the walls and even more on the roof. So our new bomb shelter and also our visitor center have one of Israel's prettiest and richest living roofs ever. Oh, and a gamma lizard just ran away. So you can see this is our living roof. There it is. That's a blackbird singing, not in the dead of night, but in the middle of the day. You can see it up there by the sky, on the skyline, on this large tree where my finger's at. And it's a beautiful male. It's a relative to the American robin, also an amazing singer. So you can see our living roof, Israel's first living roof, and now we have many, many more roofs like this erected wherever we can. It's a kind of a mission. You can see the ants working away. They're already living on the roof, collecting seeds. And I'm going to climb up just for a minute. Okay. There's Fiddler on the roof, but there's also a naturalist on the roof. And you can actually see the city of Jerusalem all around us. I wish we could have living roofs on all these buildings. One day we'll have. And you can see these beautiful blue hyacinths. And look at the wild bee. Oh, there's a honeybee on the roof. Look at that. That's classic. These are asphodel seed pods. They just finished flowering. And look at that. So I'm going to finish my Zoom talk with you here on the roof. You can see Nachlaot over there.
Amir, can you show? Amir, can you try and point in the direction of the Knesset?
Why point? I can go to the Knesset, say hello to the guards. They're probably going to ask me, what am I doing here? But let's give it a go. Are people still watching, Lawrence?
Yes, we still have. I barely anyone's left. Most people are sticking with. They love the tour. Yeah, no, we're just gonna answer up for questions.
On the way to the Parliament, this is a strawberry tree, a very important tree that's flowering right now in the Mediterranean habitats. Nice scent. Very important for birds. They use this as, they need the sugar that this flower produces, and you can see these little fruit will serve migratory birds on their way south in fall, in autumn. Okay, so this is our next door neighbor. And over there, this is the Knesset, Parliament. Actually working, but who knows for how long. Knesset guard. And just on the other side, just beyond the cypress trees, over there is the Supreme Court. So yes, we're centrally located, and this is a general view of our living roof down here. Can you see it? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, shoot, I'll try to answer.
Thank you very much, Amir. That was really superb. Everyone's saying thank you in the chat. I think we'll, Alen hopefully will come in and ask some questions. And so if anyone wants to visit the JBO when we're back up to business, it's right by Cinema City in Jerusalem. And you just come along the road and you can pop down. It's free for anyone visiting, but we do charge for groups. And you're welcome to book on the website or calling them up. It's a really modest fee, and we invite you to come and visit us in the coming months once this is passed. Alen's just come back in, so Alen and Amir, I leave the questions to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
There was a question of what you can do to attract birds, and we can put a list on Facebook and send people a nice trees and plants. If you don't have Facebook, just talk to me at jbo@inter.net.il, and we will help you on. Do we have visiting the center?
And Amir and Alen, what time? We just got a question. What time are you guys open? What's the opening times?
We open the nets about half hour before sunrise. The bird hide is open 24 hours a day. Hide once we open back up. Center is usually open from 9 to 3 or by appointment. We're always happy to hear from visiting birders or visitors. Pop us a line, let us know where you are and when you want to come, and we'll open our doors and welcome you in. And there was a question about what raptors we have. We get a lot of eagles and hawks flying overhead, but the most common raptors on our site are the Eurasian kestrel and the Eurasian sparrowhawk, which last week we actually caught a sparrowhawk, which was really nice. Amir, some last words?
Yeah, so here I'm just by the Gutmann Visitor Center, and you can see it's sadly it's closed, but it's only temporary. We'll be back, full operations, hopefully, as soon as possible and the pandemic permits. And from the JBO, best of health, and may you have an amazing spring or fall if you're from the southern hemisphere. Stay indoors, stay safe, and תהיו בריאים. Bye-bye.
And from me, bye, Amir. And I echo that. We hope to see you all soon at the Bird Observatory. Hope to do another. Well, happy Pesach, happy Easter. We'll see you all soon. Right. Lawrence, you're turning us off?